Everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. And this Wednesday just happens to be Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas to all of you out there. This week for What's Up Wednesday, I want to maybe lighten things up a little bit. I'm not going to cover a safety topic or a leadership tip or something like that. I want to talk a little bit about living in the moment. Now, Melinda and I are Catholic, and ever since COVID, we've watched Father Mike Schmitz, who is the priest at the University of Minnesota Duluth. So we started watching his homilies, which is another word for a sermon, back during COVID. And today we continue to watch because he's just so dynamic. Check him out on YouTube. Awesome dude. And he's done a series recently um, on kind of waiting and living in the moment, so to speak, and not waiting for tomorrow, not waiting for the next thing. And he had a really interesting kind of analogy or story the other day, which was that he talked to a lady who kind of came to him in her 50s. But she said that, when she was in high school, she kind of complained to those around her that she just didn't feel like she kind of knew her place, where she fit in the world. And she was told, well, just wait, you're in high school, wait till you go to college. So she goes to college. She gets into college and it's the same thing. She just doesn't feel like she's really she knows where she belongs. And she's told, well, just wait, you're in college, it's a college thing. You'll be out of college pretty soon. And she is, and same thing, she's nearing the end of her 20s and kind of the same thing. She hasn't really found her calling, doesn't really know her place in the world. And she's told by those around her, well, you're in your 20s, give it till you're kind of in your 30s. Her 30s come and go, same thing. And eventually here she is in her 50s. She's talking to Father Schmitz, and uh, and really what she wanted was she wanted to meet the man of her dreams, have a family, and that never came to fruition. And she kept waiting and waiting and waiting for this to happen, and it never did. And I thought it was a really interesting message because I find that I've always kind of preached or maybe emphasize the importance of the journey. We focus on milestones, we focus on finish lines, and oftentimes we miss the journey, right? We can't wait for our kids to succeed and graduate, but we don't want to miss everything in between. And oftentimes, I think as humans, we have this kind of tendency to kind of wait and see. And the one thing I will say, about humans is I think that we're probably the most resilient creatures imaginable. Definitely on this planet. We can overcome anything and we can adapt to anything. It's amazing when we look at some of the things that we face just in the last 25 years. So look back at 9/11. That changed the world. For the first time since Pearl Harbor, war was brought to the United States. And we rose up and we came together and we kind of addressed that. And then I think, over time with the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, people got very tired of it because it just didn't end, right? And they got tired of waiting, and started to get frustrated. And then, there was the mortgage collapse, the big financial crisis we had, 2007, 8, 9. That was really tough, but we were resilient. We came through it. And, I think people learned how to live in the moment. They learned how to adapt, how to kind of accept the new norm and move on. And then COVID, maybe the greatest challenge that humankind has seen, at least in modern history. It was an unbelievable event that changed the world maybe forever. It seems like so long ago now, but look at how we learn to adapt and, kind of live in the moment. And I think that it's important as we kind of wind down this year. It's kind of amazing to me that it seems that at this point in the year that we're tired. It's been a grind for 12 months. And what's even more amazing is that we turn that page into the new year, and oftentimes we feel refreshed and we're ready to start anew. What's changed? Well, the 12th month has ended and the first month has begun. And really that's the only thing that's changed, is that we've kind of ended finished one chapter and we've opened another. But, you know, the point is we have an opportunity to kind of live in the moment or to wait. And I think that playing wait and see, waiting for tomorrow, I don't think it benefits us. And kind of enjoying the journey and looking at each day as a gift is really important because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Heck, you don't know what's going to happen today at this point. But you know, ultimately, you could be diagnosed with a disease. You could find out terrible news that something has happened to somebody close to you. There's so many things that can happen, and waiting and not living your life every single day is a bit of a shame because I think the closer we get to the end game, the more we realize that each day is a gift. So, you know, as we celebrate this Christmas and hopefully get a little bit of downtime over the next week and a half before we turn that page to January in a new year and we hit the ground running, it's important to kind of, I think, reflect on how grateful we are for the things that we have and the things that we've experienced. And again, you know, I encourage everybody to live in the moment, enjoy each day for what each day is, and don't worry about what's coming tomorrow. Don't wonder what's going to happen a month from now because we can't really control those things. What we control is today. So let's do that. Everybody have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next year, or I'm sorry, next week on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, which will be the last day of the year. So we'll see you then. Merry Christmas.